Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our Sunday virtual worship service at Unity Center of Davis. I'm Reverend Rich Carlini, and I'm the minister at Unity Center of Davis, and we want to welcome each and every one of you this morning, including our guest speaker, Alan Klein from Unity of San Francisco. Good morning. Want you to let you know how important each of you are to each of us in this service and how wonderful it is to see you this morning. We welcome everybody from Pennsylvania to New York to Arizona to right here in Davis. So thank you for being with us today. And please join us now for our opening song.
And I want to thank our guest, Alan Klein, this morning for these song suggestions. They're new, but they're wonderful songs here. Life is brilliant, so resilient. Life is simply infinitely magic. Open your eyes, you'll see the way to let your life be magic every day. Life is special when it's love-filled. Life is simply infinitely magic. Open your heart, you'll feel the way to let your life be magic every day.
And now we welcome our prayer chaplain this morning, Julie Curry. Thank you, Julie, for serving us. I turn things over to you.
Julie, please unmute.
Thank you, Cam. Good morning, everyone. This is a time where we pray in the prayer circle for anyone who is on your mind or in your heart to experience and pray for that transforming power of love. You may speak their name either silently or aloud. James, Morgan, Marcus. Let us go into that deep, calm, gentle breath and open our heart space. Loving presence. Right here and now, we are open and receptive, open to the harmony of all life and the beauty of nature. I invite you to envision the night sky. When looking at the sky, we see brilliance of the stars. In their beauty, no two are alike, each one different and unique. We are like the stars. We carry that brilliant light within us, and our divine self, our sacred self. This is our connection to oneness. There is no separation. We are all one. We can't be anywhere on earth or in the universe and be outside of God's love. We're always together in that love. We vision our light, being all illumined, moving into the prayer circle for healing and strengthening and enlivening each precious soul. From here, the light continues out into the community, our country, and our world, touching everything and everyone. God gives us grace and loving kindness every day. We are truly grateful. And here we can say, I am the light of the world. And so it is. Amen. And now together, let's give our blessing for the world. We love you. We bless you. We appreciate you. We behold God's love as you. Prayer chaplains are available after the service to join with you in prayers of gratitude, celebration, or concern. There's 2 ways you can do this. Go into the chat, leave your name and phone number, or go to the e-news or website to request the prayer request form. And you'll receive, someone will get back to you. And this is available throughout the week. So let's all have a blessed day.
Thank you, Julie. I'd like to introduce our guest speaker. And that is a marvelous man who I had the pleasure of having lunch with about 4 weeks ago now, with he and his partner Dave, who's a licensed Unity teacher. Both of them serve at Seattle Unity. And Alan Klein. What about Alan Klein? Well, comedian Jerry Lewis has said that Alan is a noble and vital force watching over the human condition. And for those of you who are old enough to remember other celebrities like Captain Kangaroo, Merv Griffin, and Jackie Gleason, Alan was the scenic designer for those shows. He's also been the president of the board of Unity of San Francisco, as well as a presenter at numerous Unity centers around the country, and as a retreat facilitator at Unity Village in Kansas City. In addition, as if that wasn't enough, he is an award-winning professional speaker, a TEDx presenter, and the author of 30-plus books, including The Healing Power of Humor, Embracing Life After Loss, and the recently published book that he will discuss today, The Awe Factor. And after some wonderful music, it will be my pleasure to welcome Alan Klein.
There's a bright golden haze on the meadow. There's a bright golden haze on the meadow. The corn is so high as an elephant's eye, and it looks like it's climbing clear up to the sky. Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. I got a wonderful feeling. Everything's going my way. All the cattle are standing like statues. All the cattle are standing like statues. They don't turn their heads as they see me ride by, but a little brown maverick is winking her eye. Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. I've got a wonderful feeling. Everything's going my way. All the sounds of the earth are like music. All the sounds of the earth are like music. The breeze is so busy it don't miss a tree. And an old weeping willow is laughing at me. Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. I've got a wonderful feeling. Everything's going my way. Oh, what a beautiful day.
Thank you, David. And thank you, Reverend Rich, for that great intro. When I make mistakes, what I say is the moon is in tapioca. So maybe that's the case today. Anyhow, corn is as high as an elephant's eye. I certainly don't have that outside my front door. I don't know what's outside your front door. It's probably not corn is as high as an elephant's eye. But when I walk out my front door, what I do have is a tubacina tree with beautiful purple flowers. And when the petals drop, the whole ground becomes like this carpet of purple. And it's amazing. So I want to tell you that because there is things that are amazing, awe-inspiring all around us. Give you some examples. Several years ago, I was hiking in Yosemite. I was going up to Vernal Falls. There was a path going up, and there was another one coming down. And as I'm going up, somebody from the other path looks across to me and says, Alan? And I looked at that person and I didn't know who it was. So I said, yeah, I don't recognize you. Who are you? And he said, I was your apprentice in summer stock when you were a designer 40 years ago. And I thought, that was awe. That was incredible. Now, some of you may think, well, that's just a coincidence. Yes, it's a coincidence. But just imagine if he had looked the other direction, if I had been a minute or 30 seconds a different way, um, how all of that had to come together in one little moment. So for me, that was awe-inspiring. My mom, when she was 82, she took her first plane ride. And I met her at the airport, getting off the plane. And I said, Ma, how did you like that trip? How did you like your first plane ride? And she said, Oh, it's wonderful. You could see the tops of the clouds. And for her, that was awe-inspiring. For me, who has traveled when I was a full-time speaker, travel as much as 100,000 miles a year, seeing the tops of the clouds was not so, awesome. But for her, it was awe. It was pure awe. And in my book, I write about one of the people that was interviewed after he was getting out of prison. There were three prisoners that day getting out of prison. And there was a reporter there asking them, after you get out of prison, what is the one thing you're looking forward to? And the first prisoner said, I'm looking forward to seeing my family, hugging my family. He hadn't done that in years. Second prisoner said, I'm looking forward to going to a baseball game. I really like baseball. I have not seen a live game in 10, 20 years. He said, I'm looking forward to that. And the third prisoner, and this has really amazed me, said, I'm looking forward to opening the refrigerator. And I thought, what a strange answer. And then I thought some more about it, and I thought, yes, he had been in prison all these years. He could never go to the refrigerator, get out a cold drink, or make his own sandwich. And I thought for that person, the refrigerator, opening it, was an awe moment. So what I realize is that awe moments come in different shapes, different sizes. Often it's in the eyes of the beholder, the clouds, top of the clouds for my mom, or the refrigerator for that man. It's in the eyes of the beholder. And often it's hard to define. I know when I was starting to write The Awe Factor, I met with my former literary agent, and his name's Michael Larson. And we had a good chat. And then just as we were leaving, he posed a question to me that really stuck with me and helped me actually um, have a basis for the book. And he asked me, Alan, what is awe? And I gave him some kind of answer at the top of my head, but then I started to do more deeper research into what is awe. So first I went to the dictionary, and there are many definitions. But the one that stuck with me was that awe is reverence with fear and wonder. And I thought, fear? I don't associate fear with awe. And yet when I was a small child and there'd be thunder and lightning, and maybe you've experienced this too, I would run under the blanket because of that loud noise and the bright light. And so yes, there was fear there. So then I looked at researchers. What do researchers think about awe? And their main definition, there are many also, their main definition is that awe is when we see something so vast that it challenges who we are in the world, like the Grand Canyon. Um, so it challenges our being. And I thought those are interesting, but it really didn't kind of tell what my experience of awe is. And so my definition is when you see something that knocks your socks off, blows you away, gives you the chills, um, things like that. And or when you say, "Oh my God," it's like you can't understand um, how that happened. It gives you goosebumps. In fact, the only two way you can get goosebumps is from the atmosphere or from seeing something that awes you. So I came up with an acronym for awe, AWE, stands for a wow experience. If you experience something where you go, wow, you are getting a little bit of awe. So why is awe important? Well, the research as doing research, there's lots of studies. It's only been studied, however, in the last 8 to 10 years, but it's a powerful emotion that researchers are finding to keep us happier and healthier. One bit of research that I found amazing was that when you find something that awes you, you have less inflammation in your body. Amazing. I mean, who would have thought of that? But the research is finding that is true. The other thing is that it gives you less stress. And the other thing, and this I think is really important for unity, that they gave people some money, like $20, and they said, use it how you will. Half the group, they said, um, go and find some awe before you spend the money. And the other group, they didn't tell that. And what they found, the people that found some awe before they spent the money, they were more generous than the other group. So I thought for unity, if you show pictures of nature when you're asking for donations, you know, pictures of the Grand Canyon or Niagara Falls, people might actually tithe more money than people who don't see the awe. So that's some of the research. I'll tell you one other research coming up, but I want to show you that nature is the number one generator of awe. So if you're looking to get more in your life, go out in nature. For example, so sunsets or sunrises, amazing. Look at this one, incredible. Or look at this one. This is in Norway. You could actually go there and stand on that rock. And speaking about fear and awe and wonder, I saw the first time I saw this picture, my stomach dropped. It was an awe, fearful moment for me. So I want to share with you a research. For some reason, I'm seeing David, but I guess that's all right. Hi, David. I'm not seeing me, but that's fine. Um, so one of the recent research, it was an Emotion magazine journal actually last September, and it's about going out and finding awe. And they had two groups of people, 52 people in each, mostly older people, 60, 70, 80. And they told both groups to go out and look for awe. And this was only for 15 minutes once a week. And the research was for 8 weeks. So both groups were basically given the same notice to go out and look for awe. I'm sorry, back up. Both groups are told to go out and take a walk. But the one group was told to look for awe. The first group was not, second group was. And when they found something that awed them, to just see how they feel, maybe take a photo of it. And after 8 weeks, and remember, they only went out once a week, 15 minutes. One group, no awe, the other group, finding awe. And they found that the group that found awe in their walk or was told to find awe, and when they did, they were less, they said they found, had less negative emotion and more positive emotion. And compared to the other group, they said they were much happier. So, what is the implication of that? The implication is that if you set your intention of finding awe, you will not only find it, but you will be less negative, more positive, and according to this research, you will be happier. So, as I said, nature is the number one man made generator of awe. I'm sorry, I'm getting all, Richard, I think the moon is in tapioca today. I don't know why. Anyhow, nature,
David, if you mute yourself, then Alan will be able to see himself.
David gonna mute himself? Hmm, I don't know. Anyhow, I'm gonna continue. Now I see you, Funshine. So that's little prettier face than David's actually. um, anyhow, where am I? Reverend Rich, you started this all. What did you do today?
What did I do
Anyhow,
today? Hey, I'll tell you, Alan, go up to the top right-hand corner where it says view and
yeah,
switch to gallery.
I was on gallery and it went back to sleep. Okay. Well,
There you
now
go.
I see everyone. That's fine. Not a problem. So nature is the number one generative awe, but there's also man-made awe. Give you three examples. Any of you could raise your hand if you've seen Cirque du Soleil. How many of you? And you know how often seeing a Cirque du Soleil show you are awed. And there's even research about that. So that's one man-made generative awe. The other is space travel. Do you know right now, as we're gathering today, there are 10 people floating out on a space station somewhere on space. Not on the ground. They are floating. They've been there for months and they eat there. They go to the bathroom there and they are floating around in space. Is that not amazing? And the third thing is the gigantic skyscrapers. I live in San Francisco. That man could do this. And there is the Salesforce Tower, which is about 1,070 feet tall. So if you think of that building, if you've seen that building, and you put one of those on top of the other, two Salesforce towers, guess what? It is not the tallest building in the world. The tallest building in the world is in Dubai. And let's see, it is 2,717 feet tall. And the amazing thing, the awesome thing for me is that next year there will be a taller building than that. So the things man can do is incredible. The other awe generator is when we interact with other people and amazing things happen. So I want to share with you one of those from my life. Years ago, my daughter Sarah was a junior counselor and then a full counselor at Camp Tawanga in Yosemite. And every year she would say, Dad, could you come and speak to the counselors? They're really stressed out. And I was doing humor and stress workshops based on The Healing Power of Humor, my first book. And every year I would say, Sarah, it's a long drive to Yosemite. It is so hot up there. There's mosquitoes. I don't have time. You're not paying me anything. I would make one excuse after another. And then I was at a speakers convention, and one of the speakers mentioned at that time that suicide, the number one rate of suicide was by teenagers. And it really touched me. And I came out of the meeting, called my daughter Sarah, and I said I would love to come up and speak to the counselors. When should I come? And we arranged a date, and I went up and I met her there, and she said, Dad, you're going to be speaking 11 o'clock. And I said, great, 11 o'clock tomorrow morning, be wonderful. She said, no, Dad, 11 o'clock tonight. That's when the counselors get off work. That's when they can gather and you could talk to them. So I did that, and Sarah had a friend from the city that he was very depressed all the time. He hardly said hello when he came in my house. And he was a counselor, a junior counselor there. And I looked around the room. I was hoping he'd be there to hear my message, but he wasn't there. But every now and then, as I would talk, he would bop up behind the couch. So I knew he was in the room. I knew what he heard. And in the workshops, I always give out, I do a process with a red clown nose. And I did that process and I finished the talk. And the counselors loved it. They came up and chatted with me and appreciated the nose I gave them to lighten the situation. And that was it. And I went home. A couple of weeks later, I saw this young man walking on Haight Street on the opposite side of the street. And he came over. He said, Mr. Klein, I need to tell you something. And usually he doesn't talk to me. So I was a little surprised. But he said, I've got to tell you what happened after you talk. He said, a couple of days later, I got in a fight with the staff and the head counselors, and I decided I was going to leave camp. And he said, I didn't have a place to go. I wasn't talking to my father. My mom kicked me out of the house. And so I just went to the side of the road and thought I'd hitchhike and see where it would take me. And he said I was standing there for hours and it was getting dark. And I started to cry and I started to think about how I was going to commit suicide. And he said I took a handkerchief out of my pocket to wipe the tears from my face. And he said, your clown nose fell out. And I picked it up. He said, I put it on. And he said, the first car stopped and gave me a ride to the city. And then this is what touched me and this is what awed me. He said, thank you for coming to speak to us. And thank you for saving my life. Wow. I got tears in my eyes. I got goosebumps. It was certainly an all moment for me. So if awe is important, how do we get more of it? So I talked about one is intention. A couple of years ago, I took a class before COVID, and every day during this class, we had to go out and look for some prompt and take a photo of it. So one day they said, look for things shaped in hearts, like hearts. And I had been walking my dog several times a day, and I had planted, um, what is it? I can't remember the name of the flower right now. Um, anyhow, I planted a flower in a vine around my gate, and when I came back walking the dog, I noticed that every leaf was in a heart shaped. And I had been in and out several times a day for several weeks, never noticed the shape of the leaves. So set your intention. The other is one more on your life. Grow down. Be curious like a child. Zen said, act as if you have beginner's mind. Look at the world differently. I know, talking about my dog, I once was in a cafe and my dog was tied up outside, and there was this little 2-year-old that noticed the dog's tail. And every time it came to the tail, the dog would wag it, and the kid would get hysterical with laughter from the breeze, from the tickling of the nose. And I thought, well, this young child, this tail was its whole world. It was all for this child. So grow down, be more childlike, be curious, and you will find the awe in the world. And the other is to look and look even closer. A couple of years ago, David and I were in Amsterdam, and I'll show you a photo here. And oops, sorry. Well, that was I can't go back. So that was Kuchenhof Gardens, and they had 7 million tulips. 7 million. Every time we went a different path, there were the incredible tulips. And look how incredible these are. These are amazing. But the trick to finding more awe, I think, is to look closer. So I looked inside the tulip, and whoever thought there'd be this burst of yellow like sun inside that tulip? And so my thought for you to get more awe in your life is to look closer at things, and you'll often find that awe. So what is awe? My agent, Michael Lawson, asked me, what is awe? And I had a hard time finding it, but doing all this research and collecting all these stories from other people and looking at my own awe moments, here is what I came up with, what awe is. Awe is the presence of the divine in the world. Awe is the presence of the divine in the world. When you can find something, when you look closer and find the awe, you are finding the divine. And in unity, we talk about how God, how the divine is in here and also out there. So look for it. It is in everything. And like, what if I told you that the most awe-amazing thing is right where you are right now? That you, within you, I mean, the fact that you could hear me, the fact that you could see me on Zoom, years ago that wasn't possible. The fact that you could breathe in and breathe out, the one breath keeps you alive, your whole body, your heart beating, sending blood through your system to oxygenate it and keep you going. It's all amazing. It's all awesome. So I want to show you a video about that.
The expression I use is I say we're all masterpieces and works in progress simultaneously. So to be human is to be extraordinary. I have a quote which says, even on your worst day, you're a living miracle. If you think about the trillions of reactions that are happening just within the biochemistry of our physicality, it's overwhelming. That we can eat food with friends at a dinner table and our body will take care of the process of digestion, when to secrete the bile from the bile duct, when to release more hydrochloric acid to break down the food, so that the apple that you just ate at some point will become a liver cell. I mean, that is just mind-blowing, like magic, right? Yet we don't think about it. So when you really understand the endless myriad of transactions that are happening in the human brain and the human body that actually gives us the experience of being alive, it's humbling. You kind of can't help but feel a sense of gratitude and grace by virtue of the fact that I have a human. As a human, I have the capacity to see the people I love. The fact that I can smell, the sense that I can hear the dulcet tones of a loved one or a child telling me what they feel. And I can taste the extraordinary abundance of these different flavors that we get to experience by virtue of Mother Nature. Just those 5 senses that we take for granted every day. From when you really get it, it becomes impossible to not revere life, your own and others, to recognize what an immaculate conception every being is by virtue of the gift that it is that we get to experience life at all. Something that really hit home many years ago was that just to be alive is itself a miracle. And from that moment forth, I stopped berating myself. I'm not perfect. And there's so much humility and patience that we can develop when we understand that and then afford others. If we could afford each other just a little bit more patience, a little bit more compassion, a little bit more empathy for the fact that it is difficult, it is sometimes challenging to take on a new task, and that's okay, then that again would make for a much more loving and accepting society. But within that, we never neglect the magic that it is to be a human being.
So that video, the words and the music is by Fearless Team, and the actual video, the images done by a person who does our work at Unity SF, Ryan Harvey, and I think he did an incredible job. So anyone that knows me knows that I love Broadway shows. And one of the shows that I liked a lot when I was living in New York and went to see on Broadway was Flower Drum Song. Some of you may have seen the movie, and in it there's a song, 100 Million Miracles. And I just want to read to you a few small paragraphs because it's so poetic. And I think Julie mentioned the sky before, and this talks about the sky. When it's miracle of changing weather. They talk about all kinds of miracles in the song. When a dark blue curtain is pinned by the stars to the sky, every flower and tree is a treat to see. The air is very clean and dry. Then a wind comes blowing, the pins all away. Night is confused and upset. The sky falls down like a clumsy clown. The flowers and the trees get wet, very wet. So I invite you to look for those 100 million miracles that are all around us. And those are inspiring things like David's music today. Um, like the corn that's as high as an elephant's high, or whatever is outside your door. I invite you to look for those. And I would like to close with a quote by Albert Einstein. There are two ways to live your life, he said. One is as though nothing is a miracle. The other is though everything is a miracle. So, with that thought, let us go into meditation with a wonderful song first by David.
I am free. I am unlimited. There are no chains that bind me. I am free. I am unlimited right now. I am free. I am unlimited. There are no chains that bind me. I am free. I am unlimited right now. I am free. I am unlimited. There are no chains that bind me. I am free. I am unlimited right now. I am free. I am unlimited. And there are no chains that bind me. I am free, I am unlimited right now. I am free, I am unlimited right now, right now.
So, I invite you to get comfortable wherever you are. Close your eyes if that feels okay with you. And now let's take a couple of deep breaths, noticing the feeling of the air going in our nostrils and exiting our nostrils. Again. And one more. And just noticing your incredible body. Your feet on the ground. Where your arms are, where your hands are. And you feel a sensation in your hands, all the ways to the tip of your fingers. Your incredible body. The air you're breathing going into your lungs. How the air you're breathing provides the nourishment for you to exist. How it supports your being, your whole being. How one breath keeps you alive. The miracle of the breath. And if you sit quietly enough, maybe you could even hear your heart beating. Or feel it. Is that not a miracle? It's purifying the blood as it goes through your heart. And the liver that was mentioned in the film, taking out the toxins in your body so you can be whole and healthy. It's all, as Albert Einstein said, it's all a miracle. And everything around us is a miracle to be appreciated, to nurture us, to give us comfort. to give us love. And as the researchers and all have found, to keep us healthier and happier. So the more we could appreciate our own body, our own selves, other people, the love we can give to other people we know comes back to us. Not that we give it for that reason. We give it wholeheartedly, but somehow what we give comes back. And so we give love to the world, to others who may be suffering. We give love freely. And we breathe in knowing that divinity is within us to do all those things, to do the love, to give the love, to see the awe, to see the connection, how we are connected to everybody on this planet, and how we are connected to this planet. And we must honor and nurture it just as we nurture ourselves, and just as our body nurtures ourselves. And so we appreciate all that has been given to us, all that is around us, all that is within us. And as we breathe in and out, we know that love is here to freely give. And perhaps the most important love we can give is the love of ourselves. Because we know when we're nurtured, we can nurture others. And so today, we give love, we give joy, we give generosity, knowing that we are provided, that there is prosperity all around us. And that when we find the awe, we find that prosperity, we find the divine that is there. And we put any negative things behind us. And we let that divine power shine and nurture us. So, with that thought, I'd like you to take a couple of 3 breaths in and out. In and out. In and out. And now just feel your body sitting wherever you are, standing where you are. Just notice your feet on the ground or where your hands are. And when you're ready, come back to your space and open your eyes. If your eyes are not open, this might be a good time to do that. Amen.
Thank you, Alan. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was wonderful. Let's give Alan a hand.
Thank you.
I think
Thank
it's
you.
awesome when you see everybody clapping on Zoom. It's an awesome sight. I'm filled with awe. And I'm filled with awe after your talk and meditation and David's music. Alan, thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
thank you. Please come back again. And before I start the offering blessing, don't put up that slide yet, Harry. I wanted to show you all pictures, just a moment, let me get it, of the Grand Canyon. There you go. Isn't it awesome? There's the Grand Canyon. Now, please give. Thank you very much. And so, Harry, you can put the slide up now if you want to, but I want to thank all of you who have sent in your tithes, your love offerings, your pledges. It's just awesome to receive them, and it's awesome to visit the Grand Canyon. So before you click on the donate button in the chat room today or go to the e-news to the website, take a look at the Grand Canyon, even if it's on the computer, and see how awesome it is, and let it fill your heart and fill your mind. And then give and receive. And so together we say our offering blessing. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am grateful. And now please join me in singing our peace song.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
And now our prayer for protection together, please. The light of God surrounds us. I am that light. The love of God enfolds us. I am that love. The power of God protects us. I am that power. And the presence of God watches over us. I am that presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Thank you very much for being here this morning, as all is well